Yo, what is up, internet? Hey, wanted to do another kind of quick video here on two kind of unexpected things that I've noticed about the P6. And the first one, oh, that didn't work. The first one is unfortunately just an issue with the wheel itself. So the P6 comes with this. Oh my god, am I retarded? What is going on?
A few moments later.
There you go, buddy. Okay. So the first issue is an actual hardware issue, which is kind of weird. So the P6 comes with this thing called Ride Connect, which is supposed to be pretty slick, where it has a SIM card built into the wheel, and it basically auto tracks all of your rides. And if you ever need to know where your wheel is, you know, you can look at it on a map. So it's a pretty slick system. I was like, great, I definitely want that because it's an expensive wheel, and if somebody walks off with it, then you can see right exactly where it is. So there's like a little added bit of security on that, which I like. So anyways, got it, set it up, and the whole setup went fine, except for the Ride Connect thing. So it got to about 30 or 40%, and then it would just sit there and cycle through 600 eSIM numbers. And I'm like, what is it doing? You know, like, what's an eSIM number? I forgot to turn on GPS. Damn. Hang on, let me do this real quick. So it annoyed me because I was like, okay, well, we're just going and going and going, and it's like 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes, you know, whatever. And eventually I would just cancel it because I'd get frustrated. I was like, what is this thing doing? So eventually I just reached out to InMotion and I was like, hey, this is what it's doing. I also went through the usual sort of ways to fix this, which from the forums and stuff, people are saying, like, put your phone in airplane mode, make sure that you restart the wheel, you have the latest firmware, all this type of stuff. So I did all that. And it still just wasn't doing the thing. So I emailed InMotion and I was like, hey, here's the deal. I described the issue, and they go, oh, okay, well, we need more information. So send us some screen caps, and I did that. And they're like, oh, okay. So what you need to do is you need to download this app because we're looking for the EID number. So they gave me a link to this app, but it turns out the app is only for an Android phone, which I do not have. So I emailed them back and I said, hey guys, you know, I'm on an Apple, and I'm not exactly sure what to do with this because, you know, obviously it's not going to work on my phone. And the crazy thing is their response. They go, oh, well, what you need to do is just borrow one from a friend or just go buy a Droid. And I was like, wait a minute. You guys, like, for real? Like, this is a $5,000 wheel and your best advice is to go steal one of my buddy's phones? Like, that's insane. So I emailed them back and I was just like, there's got to be a different way. So then they started asking for, like, my purchase receipt, like my receipt order, all this stuff. And I was like, okay. So I sent them all that. And then they go, after all of that, they go, well, actually, this isn't our issue. This is going to be the guy you bought it from, their issue. And I was just like, wait a minute. This is like something you guys have on the freaking website that says it should work. It's you know, your company, you guys built this thing, you know how it works. Like, what are we doing? You know, so I got annoyed and I sent that whole email chain to Next Gen Mobility, which is where I bought this thing. And within 2 seconds, the guy got back to me. He was like, oh, I know exactly what this is. There's this cloud box, I guess, or cloud module, I think he maybe called it. And this is a known issue with these things. And sometimes they just get hung up in the eSIM loop forever. And we'll get another one shipped out to you right away. And here's a video of how to replace it, and it should be smooth sailing after that. So, you know, huge shout out to Next Gen Mobility. They that's what I was hoping for from InMotion, to be honest. But anyways, Next Gen Mobility, if you're looking to buy a P6, you know, really great guys. And before I bought this thing, I was actually chatting with them on their little website chatbot thing. And it wasn't an actual, it wasn't like a robot I was talking to. It was actual human. I got some good insight. And the responses were snappy, so I was like, all right, let's try it. And, you know, for reference, I've used e-wheels before. I've used Alien Rides before for various other wheels I've purchased. But very happy with the Next Gen Mobility thing. So kudos to you guys. Cool business. And I look forward to getting the cloud module, I want to say, something like that. Should show up tomorrow, and probably make another video on how to replace that. But yeah, InMotion, get your shit together, dude. You can't tell us to go buy a freaking new phone because the only app you have is for Droid. That's just crazy. You know, and even then, it probably maybe could have worked, maybe not, but yeah. All right, so that's my little bitch session. Everything else about the wheel has been flawless. No other issues, you know, knock on wood. Everything's working good. Haven't had a ton of time to ride the thing, unfortunately, just because it's been raining and super windy for the last couple days, but I do have today off, and we do have a nice little break in the weather, so I figured let's go cruise around again. Last time I inflated this tire, I will say, I took it up to 26 PSI. I don't think I mentioned that before. And that's typically lower than what I would run on like most of my other wheels. But based off the internet chatter and other P6 owners, they tend to think that this thing actually does better with a lower PSI. And yeah, I don't know. I mean, I do like the way it feels. And obviously this thing has so much power, like, you know, I'm not really looking to like max out the efficiency or whatever, because we're not really worried about that with 20 kilowatts on tap. Hey, on that note, I finally looked through some of my ride files, like my logs, because I was curious. I was like, what kind of PWM am I at on this thing? And I haven't even hit 50% on this, which is crazy to me, because I've been doing my best to lean as hard as I can. And, you know, I've been going 50-ish miles an hour as like kind of the current speed limit or upper limit for me. So it just gives you some insight as to how incredibly capable this thing is and how much overhead you have on this. Like, it's almost frustrating, because I know it's a user error type thing, and if I knew how to more aggressively I guess lean or whatever, you know, then I could probably tap into even more power. But it's kind of a funny thing with these wheels, like, you know, any other two-wheel device you get with a throttle, like a motorcycle or a Suron or whatever, I mean, you can always hit full throttle, because you just twist that little knob and you can get 100% throttle. And the wheels are just different. The wheels are different because it's a function of basically how much you're leaning into it, how fast you're going, you know, what your setup is like, a bunch of other factors, which is kind of funny, because I don't think most people realize that. You know, most people see the 20 kilowatts and they're like, oh, I'm going to have full access to that. And like I said, my PWM max has been 45%. And I think the max wattage I've ever seen is about 8,000 or 9,000 watts. And that's got to be for, you know, a very brief moment. And I wish I had more detailed charts so I could actually see like what it's putting out for how long and stuff like that. But the app don't do that yet. So, but yeah, it's kind of a funny problem to know that this thing has way more potential than what I'm able to tap into, at least with my current riding ability. Okay, so let's see. We're doing 40 indicated. Hopefully the GPS is working today. Yeah, I guess this is about as fast as we're going to be able to go on the street right now. But it feels good. Like I've said in the other video, it is just so smooth, you know? It is so smooth, so predictable. And the tuning is just second to none. Because a lot of people see these wheels and they're like, oh, these are just made for, you know, hooligans going super duper fast. And I would argue this is actually a better all-around wheel, regardless of the speed you're going, because of its calibration, its smoothness, its predictability. I haven't been able to get the thing to wobble, again, knock on wood, but I mean, there's 45 indicated, and yeah, no issue. So this actually leads me into my next point, though. This is my homework, and this is what I mentioned last time. I don't know how to lean effectively with this thing without compromising my riding position once I get to about 45 miles an hour, because the air drag, it becomes so strong that in order to lean more and to access more of the power, for me anyways, I have to do weird things that I don't want to do, like lean way over the wheel. You know, like, I mean, I can't really show you right now because I'm going kind of slow. But to me, it feels awkward once I get up to that speed because I don't want to, essentially, I don't want to like overcommit to a lean and get out of position. And here's why. When I had a V13 and I was still a fairly inexperienced rider, I got very cocky very quickly because it felt super stable. And I was like, okay, let's go see how fast this thing can go. And I went out and I was on a bike lane, so I felt safe and it was straight and there was no wind. And I was like, all right, here we go. And I did one of these things where I kind of leaned over like this. And I bent my knees quite a bit. And I, as you can imagine, you see where this is going, I caught a wobble at about 35 miles an hour. And because I was so overextended and because I was just a new rider, I had no clue how to fix that. So the first thing I did was just get into this like ridiculous, you know, endless feedback loop of the wobble death, like, you know, the death wobble. And ultimately just fell on my butt pretty good at about probably 30 miles an hour or something like that. So yeah, that part of my brain does not like getting out of position when I'm going quickly because I very much remember that lesson. And I know for sure that I don't want to try to like lean off the front of this thing so much that it feels like I don't have control or like I'm doing something where I can't turn it as effectively as I'd like, or, you know, whatever. So is it a user error problem? Yeah, 100%. But, you know, if you guys get one of these things and you haven't really gone that fast, when you start getting into the upper 40s, it's kind of a different thing because air drag is exponential. So the faster you go, you know, it gets exponentially more force on you, pushing you back, which makes it harder essentially to step on the gas. So that's another very unique, weird thing about EUCs. It's not like you can just hit the throttle 100%, especially at higher speed, because again, you have to be able to lean even further forward to torque the wheel to get it to elicit more power. So, I don't know. I watch these guys like Chooch and some of the other really good riders, and they make it look freaking effortless. Like those guys, especially Chooch, man, he's really good. So if you haven't watched his videos, go check him out. But his latest P6 video is just like, I saw that and I was like, I need one so bad. But he's up in, I think Boulder, or Denver rather. He's ripping through these mountain roads, like these big, long, twisty roads. And he actually talks about it in the video where he's like, I've kind of had to come up with a new way to lean, like a new body position, which has to be a bit further down, a bit lower than typical because, again, you're just going so much faster. So for him, you know, he's able to pull it off and make it work. So there is obviously a technique to where you can go, you know, 50, 60 miles an hour and not have the wind blow you backwards. But for me, it's not an impossible process. It's a little anxiety inducing because of my previous experience with the V13 and knowing that if I get too far forward, I get too far over the wheel, I start to feel unstable. And if I do get, you know, a wobble, it's not good. Because I don't like death wobbles. I don't know about you guys, but it is terrifying. Once they start, Jesus Christ. So his whole thing, which I don't know, maybe you guys can see this. It's kind of awkward holding a camera and trying to do this, but I mean, he was literally going further down like this almost. Ugh! See right there. I mean, that's like 40, you know? And I've got it set up, that's 45. So I've got it set up to where when I'm really leaning like this, like my shin is just starting to hit the front of the pad so I can have a little bit of additional torque. But you know, again, I'm like 6 foot and I just the front area of my body, like it's just, there's so much force pushing me back. You know, the part of me wants to just like duck down and get low, but the other part of me doesn't want to become unstable. So, I don't know. Just wanted to bring this up because it's kind of one of those, at least for me, it was like kind of an unanticipated issue where you're going to maybe have to learn a slightly different riding style if you're going to get really fast. Or at least that's kind of what I've run into. So again, it's not like you can't figure it out, because again, guys like Chooch are doing it. But for me, you know, I mean, this feels fine in this position. Like I'm a bit lower than I typically would be. So again, but I'm only, you know, I'm doing 40. I'm not doing 60. And I feel like in those videos, Chooch is probably, I mean, shit, I don't know, mid-50s maybe, something like that. Like consistently for a long period of time. So just food for thought for you guys. If you get one of these things, you might have to figure out a slightly different go fast riding style that keeps you safe and wobble free, because those suck. Or you can just go ahead and sit down, which is kind of cool too. I guess while we're sitting down, one thing I should point out right now is that the way that I have my pad set up, I really like for when I'm standing, but as soon as I sit down, it rips the Velcro off. So like right now on my right side, I don't know if you can see it, I'll try to zoom in or something, but it just ripped the Velcro off. So I don't exactly know what to do about this, because it's kind of an ongoing issue where every time I take a seat, I have to eventually pull over, re-stick the pad, and it's just kind of like a bit more arduous, more trouble than I wish it were. So yeah, I mean, you can see right now, like, it kind of pulled up just doing that. So I don't know. If anybody's got a pro tip on that, it would be cool, because for me at least, when I'm riding fast on a larger wheel like this, I do like to feel kind of locked in, and then as soon as you try to take a seat, you know, your legs and everything kind of want to shift forward, at least for me a bit, and then the pads are in the way, the pads get knocked. So I don't know, maybe there's a sweet spot in there somewhere, but I've yet to find it. So I mean, it's not hard to like push it back down, but I don't know, I wish I didn't have to do that. So maybe, I don't know, leave me a pro tip. Any other P6 guys or anybody else who rides seated? How do you guys do that? Like, how do you keep your feet kind of tied in, but then when you need to sit, you can you don't have to rip them up. So, all right. So, anyways, those are the two things I kind of want to cover. One, ride share thing. At least on this batch, maybe it's just a weird batch or something. Didn't work too great. InMotion's response was kind of not great, but Next Gen Mobility stepped up, and hopefully I should have a new module coming shortly to address the issue. Oh, one thing I'll say on that really quickly. If the rideshare doesn't work, it's kind of annoying the way they have this thing set up, because I have to go into the app, connect it to the wheel, and then press go every time I go for a ride so that it actually keeps track of what I'm doing. You know, and I know it shouldn't be like that, but it is a little bit arduous. I wish it would just automatically start that process. Like as soon as I connect my phone to the wheel and start moving, like, you know, just start a new ride. Like, it's fine. I got enough memory on the on my phone. I don't mind just starting that. So I don't know. Maybe with the new module that'll take care of itself. It probably will. And then yeah, the other thing is just the riding position. Just be aware. You might have to crouch a little bit lower than you used to, and you might have to figure out, I don't know, a new pad setup, or at least kind of a new balance versus control sort of thing. But yeah, in general, still love this thing. Best wheel ever. And my hope is to have it for a long time and not have to buy any more. All right, I'm going to leave it with that. Have a good day, y'all. See ya.